I have evaluated Corey Brown. I have evaluated Brett Maher. I even have evaluated Matt Rhule. But now I want to address the defensive line because the defensive line was one of the worst defensive lines Nebraska had. Not just from like a statistic standpoint, but also just from a size standpoint. They're all undersized heavily, which is why Nebraska only had 6.5 sacks between just their defensive tackles alone, and then also 97th at the top of the run. And you can't be like that in the Big Ten. So today's video is going to be about giving, in my opinion, who the best defensive line players will be, who will be the breakout players, or who will be the seasoned veterans that will prove why they are going to be the starters. So let's get into it, and without any further ado, let's get straight to it. So, starting off, obviously, Jahsear Whittington. And why do I say Jahsear Whittington? Because Jahsear Whittington, he was easily the best playing defensive tackle in this spring game. That's hands down. He was often getting past the offensive lineman. He got a sack, or I think one sack, maybe two, in the game, and so he did well. He definitely just was noticeably one of the better defensive linemen. Now, the cons about him, though, is that he is a little bit undersized. He's only 270, and for being a D tackle, that's pretty darn small. Now, they're probably going to get him up to, 280, 285, whatever. That's good. That's what we need. So, they can do that. That'll be great, because the offensive linemen against Indiana, Oregon, Iowa, Ohio State, they're not going to let you get to their quarterback easily when you weigh only that much. So, however, I believe Jahsear Whittington is going to be a very key facet for this defensive line. Like I said, he's speedy. He has the ability to get to the quarterback. He's just very shifty. He's athletic. Just a little undersized. It's the only con. But otherwise, I do believe that Jahsear Whittington is going to be a very good defensive lineman for Nebraska. Then number 2, you guessed it, Nwaneri. So, Nwaneri, he's a 5-star recruit coming out of Lee's Summit, Missouri. He obviously played 1 year at Missouri as a redshirt freshman, and then transferred to Nebraska. Last year, he was kind of disappointing. Well, not really disappointing. He just didn't do that much. I mean, 2.5 sacks. I mean, the stats are down here. I mean, he 27 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, and 2.5 sacks, 1 pass breakup, and 2 fumble recoveries. And then, one of which he returned for a touchdown. That's great. Cool. Yep. But still, the facts are the facts. He's a very talented, athletic, has a very high ceiling. I mean, if he was developed right, he could definitely get drafted. But he needs to be able to prove that on the field, not on paper. So, overall, I mean, I think with Roy Manning, and I think with the actual defensive lines coach, Nebraska should find a way to get this guy developed and prove that he's good. Because what might happen if let's say he's not good this year, okay? Other coaches are going to be like, hey, Nwaneri, why play for Nebraska? You come here, we'll develop you. We'll make you play on Sundays. That's the truth. That's probably what's going to happen if he doesn't play well. Now, I believe he's going to break out. I believe he's going to be a very big help to this defensive line at the edge position. Then number 3, Gabe Moore. And Gabe Moore, I mean, literally, even Corey Brown himself has said that Gabe Moore has so much potential. That's why he's kind of taking him under his wing, and he's trying to develop him. Because this guy, I mean, he was on the cusp. Him and Van Poppel, I think, had they had Terrence Knighton as their, defensive lines coach last year, I think that would have really taken them to the next level. Because both Gabe Moore and Van Poppel were talented guys, so they had potential. The problem was, well, when Terrence Knighton was there, they were just young guys, so they really couldn't have been, they just couldn't have been that great, in my opinion. I mean, there obviously are exceptions, but I do believe that Terrence Knighton just, while as good of a coach as he was at the defensive line, they just needed to be a little older. But anyway, that being said, though, I think that with Corey Brown, he's a very more than capable defensive lines coach. I believe that Gabe Moore will be this third breakout defensive tackle, or third key player on this defensive line at the D-tackle position, and I believe he's going to be a very good player. I mean, he's a big guy. I mean, 6'5", 290. They're probably going to get him to about 300, 305, probably, and they need to. It's kind of a requirement if you don't want to get pushed around that position. But anyway, that is kind of my opinion. So, That is Gabe Moore. Then you got Riley Van Poppel. Now, a lot of people probably don't like Van Poppel, and I don't blame you. I mean, he's been with Nebraska for what? I mean, this is his 4th year with the Big Red, and he's done nothing. Absolutely nothing. That is the gospel truth. He has done nothing. Let's look at his stats. Let's just look at him. Here's the truth. 2.5 tackles for loss. 16 tackles. 1.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 1 pass breakup, 1 blocked field goal. Nothing. I mean, let's you can go down here. Yeah, he had nothing. Like, look at that. That's nothing. They redshirted him 2024 to, get him stronger. You can just see, like, Van Poppel, he's not been great. Like, there were some games this year where I thought he did alright. Like, there are definitely games where I thought, hey, yeah, he actually didn't do bad. Like, I think he's improving, and he will continue to improve, but he's got to improve, because I feel like the junior year is kind of where those D tackles do tend to break out. I think Nash Hartmaker, I think that Ty Robinson, they weren't good when Frost was there, but then in comes Terrence Knighton with Matt Rule, and they break out, and they end up being one of the best defensive linemen in the conference, and that really was important. Like, our defense really depended on that defensive line be good. Had we had a half-bad defense, we would not have won 5 games that year. We only won 5 games because of a good defense and a good defensive line. So, Van Poppel, I think he's so close to 300. They're probably going to get him to like 310. I predict that he's going to be a very good player for Nebraska. I think that's just the realisticness of it. I believe he's going to be a good defensive lineman next year, and he's going to make the jump. And he was a good recruit out of high school, so I can see why Nebraska wanted him, and he's stayed with Nebraska. I think he's one in development. I think he's going to be good. Then you got Anthony Jones. So Anthony Jones, he's a senior. He is this is his 5th school. I mean, he was at Oregon, Indiana, Michigan State, UCLA. Yeah, 5th school. He's experienced. He's a seasoned veteran. I think that he just played a lot of football games. He's played in 37 games, 14 starts. Totaling 58 tackles, 6.5 tackles for loss, and 3.5 sacks and 1 pass breakup. So he's done, he's got some okay stats. Not the greatest, but he's played a lot. So he's definitely experienced. That's kind of the facts. He's experienced, and I think he's putting in the work. And I mean, like, let's just take UCLA, for example. If that was a joke. Indiana in 2023, that's Tom Allen. I mean, that's a waste of time. Actually, these last 3 schools are a waste of development. That's just the truth. UCLA was terrible with their defensive line. Michigan State, 2024, I mean, that wasn't a good defense either. I mean, they were not good in 2024. They were 5-7, not that great. Indiana, 2023, Tom Allen, they went 3-9. Oregon's good, but he's only there for 1 year, then he transferred. That happens. So, I think with Roy Manning and Corey Brown, I believe that this guy, Anthony Jones, could finish his collegiate career playing, I believe, probably his best football of his career. So, anyway, Anthony Jones, I believe, like I said, I think he's going to be good, because I think the development definitely can be there. I think the experience is there. I believe that he will be good. Kade Pietrzak is the next major key player to this defensive line. Now, he came in pretty late in the offseason, Nebraska, and he climbed the ranks very quickly. As a true freshman, he was probably one of our best edge rushers. Not that that's saying much, but I think he was. Let's just look at his stats. I mean, total 17 tackles, not the greatest perhaps. 7 TFLs, 2 sacks, 1 pass breakup, and 1 safety. He ranked 3rd on the team in sacks and TFLs. So, I mean, he was up there. Now, that's not saying much because our sacks were very low. However, Kade Pietrzak was, I mean, he plays with the blue chip, with the chip on his shoulder. Like, he's a hardworking guy who wants to play well. He's competitive. Like, that's the difference between him and Nwaneri. It seems like Nwaneri sometimes may not be as competitive as him. I don't know. Sometimes that kind of, he doesn't play like with as much like oomph as Kade Pietrzak. But we'll see what happens. That the developmental process is not over for Nwaneri. But yeah, Pietrzak, I think, like I said, he's a good player. Like, he's competitive and all that stuff. But like, cons are that he's pretty inexperienced, and that's just the truth. Pietrzak is inexperienced, but he's got 1 season under his belt. I think that's really going to help him out, and he's going to be, I think, a very good Husker for us next year. Now, this last one, you guys may not have expected this one, but this, in my opinion, is the exception to defensive lineman. I think Dylan Berryman is going to be good for Nebraska. I think he's going to be an instant impact. Why do I say this? Because there has to be a reason for everything I say. Like, I didn't just put these guys up here randomly and be like, yeah, I have them up here just because I felt like it. No, there's a reason. They all have potential. There's pros and cons to every player, but I believe that Dylan Berryman, he's 330 pounds, 6'2". Now, how much of that is actually muscle remains to be seen. But I believe that just with with the way I watched this guy's highlight film, and he is a competitive, he's a beast. That's all the way there is to put it. He was very good in high school. I think Corey Brown, I believe that he can take this guy. I bet he's gonna be an impact force because of just how I just believe how competitive, how well he's played, and how high up there he was in the recruiting, and I just think he's gonna be the exception. I think he's gonna be just a really good player for Nebraska. I mean, I think it because just the potential is completely there. He's a very, I think he was a 4-star recruit. He's a good player, and I think that the truth is just a big guy, and obviously Big Ten is different than the high school he was at, but I think he's gonna be an instant breakout because I think he has so much potential. Watching him, I think he's gonna be a really, really good player for Nebraska, just because of the potential, and I think just the competitiveness this guy has, and just he's not a small guy either. I mean, that's bigger than that's more than Van Poppel and Gabe Moore. That's bigger. He's the biggest guy on this list, and he's a freshman. Now, not all of it is muscle, but I mean, still, that's not necessarily bad though, because the nice thing about that though is at least he's heavier, so he's harder to push around. I mean, we're hoping on most of his muscle, but I mean, take Nash Hutmaker. I mean, his junior year I think was his best season. He nerfed a little bit his last year, but he was 330, and he was a big guy, hard to push around, but also a strong guy. But then he went down to 310 because he wanted to do wrestling. So I think he was not quite as good at being a plug like he usually was. So I think Berryman, now he may not be the best, but I put him on here because I think he's gonna just be, he's gonna be a baller. And I think, the coaches said they expect him to get some early snaps. So I think that Dylan Berryman is gonna be a breakout defensive lineman for Nebraska. But anyway, guys, that is it for me today. I will see you guys in the next one. Until next time, go Big Red and go Matt Rule and go Corey Brown.